Today we are spilling all the tea, and I have got my tea here. Do you
Trust
have your tea?
me, it's hot.
You got your tea?
Yeah.
You got your coffee?
No, I got coffee.
Okay,
Mariah's
well,
a tea gal. I like my coffee if it's in the pot.
Yes. But anyway, we are spilling all the tea about open houses. We are going to share secrets about open houses that your real estate agent might not want you to know, but also more than that, really I just feel like this is information that as a home buyer or a home seller, you're going to want to know about open houses up front. These are things the consumer might not know, that if you're someone who you're thinking about buying or selling a home in the near future, you're going to want to listen all the way through, because we've got a list of bullet points we're going to touch on. And I think, the last one's pretty important, so you don't want to miss it.
Okay, so beautiful. Yep. Open house show.
Open houses.
There's a ton of information online. Yep. If you just Google open house, what to look for, what to say during an open house. But like nothing that I can really find is super practical, because we've just been there. We've had we hold open houses, and ultimately we see buyers walk through these houses all the time, and we kind of know their psychology of it. They kind of want to sneak around the other way differ from the broker. They don't want to talk to you. So you guys as our audience, I mean, we are real estate brokers. We do hold these open houses sometimes, but what we want to say is very important. So make sure you're tuning in to today's show about open houses.
Okay, so before we get into some of the more juicy things, let's just start off with what to expect. Whether you're first of all, what to expect if you're a seller, and what to expect if you're a buyer, because obviously those are going to be two different things.
When an open house is happening, seller or
the buyer.
Okay, the buyer.
Either one. I can talk about either one.
Okay,
both. Either.
How about you get buyer and I'll get seller?
Okay, so if you're a buyer and you're going to an open house, you can expect to have, basically, if you have never been to one before, you're going to have a real estate agent holding a listing open. So that just means you're able to walk through from, let's just say 2 to 4 on a Saturday. You can come and go as you please, check out the house, and sometimes there's more than one agent. Usually there's only one agent holding the open house. And I would say something important to look out for is, because I've had buyers who I've been working with myself decide we don't want to waste your time. And by the way, for a buyer, it's never a waste of time to go look at houses, but they're just really, we looked at a lot of houses and they're really looking out for my time, which is really kind, which I don't mind at all. I'm always happy to go show houses, but they're just saying, you know what? The 3 houses we want to see are all doing open houses Saturday, back to back to back. They're by each other. So let's just go to the open house. And then, you don't have to do that. So I've had that circumstance. I know a lot of realtors have had that happen to them, where their buyers go out and check out these houses. So some buyers will go through the open house already having a realtor like that. And a lot of buyers will go through not having a realtor. A lot of buyers that I know that go through open houses are people who maybe aren't even really starting their house hunting. They're kind of just like the very first beginning, like, let's just drive around and see what's out there. So
I compare it to like garage sailing.
Yeah. Some people just do it for fun.
You see a sign and you just want to go and see it. Even if you have $0 in your pocket, you know they don't take card. But you walk into the garage sale anyways. Yes.
But what you need to know as a buyer is the real estate agent they want you to sign in because they want your contact information. Mm-hmm. They're going to say something to the effect of the seller's request that you sign in for their safety, or something along those lines. They're going to try to get you to sign in their book or whatever. It's always good to do it, but a lot of buyers don't want to. But just know they want your information because they want to follow up with you. Sure. They want to help you buy a house. They might even try to convert you on the spot. They might even try to, get you to work with them, which nothing wrong with that. They're there to help you, and people are going in who might not have a realtor. So there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying this like, I feel like I kind of sound like I'm making fun of realtors. Like this isn't this like sleazy thing they're doing trying to get you.
This is how they're trained.
Sometimes people think of it this way, but so just be straight up front and honest with them. If you have a realtor, and tell them, if they try to convert you, that's illegal. But sometimes some people might.
Oddly enough, though, like it happens more than you think. I've worked with clients that just go into an open house. Yeah. And they like take whatever the broker's there's word. And it's like, what is going on? Why did you just believe everything they just told you? Right. And then 2 hours later, you submitted an offer to that seller with that broker, and I've been working with you for months.
Right.
It's very weird how I guess because people are wanting, like, there's different personalities, like people pleasing. And so that's like a big fear of some people. Like, that's why a lot of people don't even jump on a car lot, because these salesmen, they do these pressure tactics, and it feels like you just have no way out. There's no escaping this broker that's in front of you saying, well, I got one offer here. If you want it, you got to put something in right now. What's your email? What's your name? What are you willing to offer on this home? And they're going to type in their notes and send it to you 2 hours later.
Right. I mean, they're there to help you if you want and need the help. If you don't want or need the help, just be honest and tell them. And that's all you got to do. It saves their time.
Or I'm just looking. I haven't really started the pre-approval process. Once you go down that route, though, they're going to be like, well, I got a lender. And
Absolutely.
And then they're going to just try and recruit you, I guess, as a new client.
That's why you got to know this up front. And if you want to work with them, great, then work with them. But if you don't want to, then just be upfront and say, hey, like, have a lender. I don't need a lender. I don't want another option, or, you know, in a nice way. But
you kind of have to be black and white, though.
Yeah, you don't want to get their. All I'm trying to say is you don't want to be rude, but I feel like it's better to not get their hopes up, because some agents, not us, but some agents, open houses are their mainstream of business. So they're, you don't want to get their hopes up or have them think you're this great lead. Like, just be honest about where you're at and what your expectations are. Just be honest. You don't have to tell them everything. But another thing to know about agents that are holding open houses is sometimes they're the listing agent. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're a new agent that just wants something to do for their business. They need a way to get business.
Any licensed agent can hold an open house for virtually any listed home.
Yes.
They just have to have permission from, obviously, the seller, but the listing agent.
Yes. And, I don't want to say this is like a black or white thing, because I feel like everything is so circumstantial, but probably more often than not, you're better off sticking with your use your realtor that you're already working with, that you're already loyal to. Don't just go into a house and be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose this, the opportunity. I got to write an offer right now with this agent. Because here's the thing, the listing agent, if that's who it is, that's holding this open house, has the seller's best interest in mind. We won't go in depth with this because we've talked about it recently, but at the end of the day, they're representing the seller. So you want your own representation. Someone's going to fight and negotiate for you.
You might think it's weird, though, that like maybe your representing agent wasn't with you during the open house walkthrough. It's not that big of a deal, because we have more access and information on the home than ultimately you might. And it's a simple phone call as well about certain details you might have had or questions you had during your open house walkthrough. So we are definitely able to write the offer after you view the home during the open house, even though we weren't present with you. Because some people, you might take it as a Sunday and be like, let's go view the 5 open houses in this area of town.
Yeah.
And you might like one of them. That doesn't mean you can't write an offer because you didn't set up a showing with your buyer's agent.
Yeah.
It just means that you took initiative, you found a house you liked, and then you get to discuss with your partner, but then your real estate agent, what type of offer you want to construct. And that's really it for us. We have the contracts, we have the legal documentation to submit to the seller that's going to be in your best interest to get you an offer accepted at the right price that's suitable for you. So it comes down to that rule of law. What is a buyer ready and willing and able, those 3 things, willing and able to write to get an offer accepted for a seller to then accept. And that's what this market is all about. And it's really you guys, the buyers out there. You're controlling this market heavily, whether you believe it or not, because you hold the money. Wherever the money comes from is who's in control. You guys have the power. So if people are willing to pay these prices that we currently have with the sales price, then that's going to be the sales price. And we have to come to terms with that, because there was a ready, willing, and able buyer able to pay that price. I mean, that's the reality. Now, let's talk about the selling side of holding an open house.
What does that look like?
So when I list a home, some sellers will say, do you hold open houses? Some prefer we don't hold open houses.
Yeah.
There's 2 sides to this coin. There's, I believe, this is just me, an older side to real estate where open houses would sell your home.
Yes.
That was in a different era. That was in a different bubble where maybe internet wasn't around, phones weren't around. Not saying that a seller asks you to hold an open house that their age is older or anything, but there's a misconception, is what I'm trying to say, behind open houses.
Yeah.
The way I interpret an open house is the agent holding it, it's only benefiting them and not you.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we went over when you walk into an open house buyer, they're going to ask you to sign in, have a sign-in sheet. What's your name, email, phone number? It's for them to capture new clients, new generation leads, new potential prospects to continue to follow up with. Now, sellers, this is good for you because this is foot traffic in your home, and you never know. I've sold houses with an open house. Buyers have come through and have bought in the home that have walked through this open house, but it's usually on their second time around. They've already had a showing in the house the previous week. They saw the open house, so they wanted to take that second look and have more time in the home. So that was another selling point of the open house. But what I want to elaborate with sellers is open houses aren't necessarily for you. They're for the buyer's agents. The buyer's agents that are holding the open houses.
Or the listing agent that's opening it, holding it open, trying to get more buyers for themselves,
Absolutely.
Whether they're holding it or someone else is.
Now, is this more exposure? Yes. I always say bad publicity is good publicity, right? So we need the most exposure. So if we have an open house, we're putting it in the newspaper, we're putting it online, we're putting it on Zillow, we're putting it in the MLS, we're putting it in our email contact base. There's more publicity when you do it. Yes, very well. But is it the type of publicity you want? Are these represented buyers? Meaning, are they qualified buyers?
Yes.
And that's the hard truths that we have to come to. Me as a broker that holds open houses, I just see it so often where the clients are not pre-qualified. They're out there on a lazy Sunday, just wanting to view what's out there, the exposure, and just seeing, if I were to sell my house, maybe I could like this one better. Who knows? So that's the harsher reality. You're getting a wider variety of people that are walking through your home. In the past, there's always been questions of, well, what about theft and stuff like that? Our jobs ethically, we need to keep our eyes open for that because I'm holding the open house and just making sure we're monitoring the safety and hazards and what's it called, the footies and making sure no damages, I guess I'm trying to say, is occurring to the home during those hours.
Okay, here's my opinion. I feel pretty strongly about it. I know a lot of agents disagree, but if you're a realtor watching this, I'd love to hear your opinion, by the way, on open houses in the comment section below. And if you're not a realtor, maybe you're a home seller or you're a buyer and you've been to one, what do you think? Do you agree with us or disagree? Let's talk about it in the comments. But my opinion is just personally that open houses are completely unnecessary in 2023. If you want to do one, go do one. And maybe there is that time, like you said, there's a lot of the people that go to them are like just driving around on a lazy Sunday, like they're garage sailing, like let's just go see, whatever, just for fun, no intention of buying. Maybe there is that like 1 in a million chance that someone that's in that situation stops by and they're like, whoa, this is the house, I'm going to buy it. I have that gut feeling. Like, I'm sure that happens. And I'm not saying that open houses never sell houses, because sometimes people do decide to walk in and buy them. However, in our day and age, the statistic when I first got licensed 8 years ago was almost 90%. Now I'm sure it's way, way, way over that because the internet's gotten even more intense with real estate. But I would just say like 95% of statistically where buyers find homes is online. And if a buyer is going to see your home, if it's online, they are going to see your home. I know this morning I was laying in bed, and as I do sometimes, because I'm trying to just not break the habit of scrolling through social media first thing. So instead I go and look at houses, which, better or worse, I don't know. But yes, for our job, it's a better habit. But so instead of scrolling through that, I'll just like go and look at all the houses. And I'm able to, before I get out of bed in the morning, see every single house on the market in a certain area. And I did that this morning. And so I'm just saying, like, if a house is online, a buyer is going to find it. And if they want to see it, they're going to set up a showing. And it's not going to be from all of your directional yard signs. And all these things can help. There's nothing wrong with it. But it's just like that 0.1% where I just feel like it is a waste of your time as a seller. And also, another tip we got to talk about, if you are going to do an open house, as a seller, you got to leave. Oh my goodness. I cannot tell you, as a new realtor, when I got my license when I was 18, and I started I used to work with a bunch of mobile homes. That was like mainly, I worked with all kinds of home sellers starting out, but it seemed that the ones that would work with me, because I was so young, were usually manufactured homes in parks. And that's really how I got my start. And I cannot tell you how many times I sat for 2 hours plus at an open house with sellers. And I'm thankful for those experiences, because I've heard some really cool, crazy, very crazy life stories, things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're telling me this. Things I would never know. No. And it's a great opportunity. But at this point in my life, I think if an agent's it just makes the buyers feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Is all that it is. The buyers don't, if they know the seller is there, they don't feel comfortable staying for a while. They feel like you're kind of like watching them, like, what are they thinking? They don't feel comfortable opening the closet. Maybe you don't want them to open the closet, but if I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to open the closet. So just, don't stay.
It's like they don't expect the what they're used to, the privacies of their home, to not be encountered. Mm-hmm. You know, like,
do you remember?
You're the one that put yourself in this position for me to open up your cabinets. You know what I mean? But you're watching me. It's very awkward. You know.
I always watched. So along with that, with sellers not leaving during an open house or even during a showing, because some sellers are like, I'm not leaving my house during a showing. I want to be present at all showings. I've always, whenever I've experienced that as a real estate agent, I've always seen how buyers feel uncomfortable, but never really felt it myself until when we purchased our first house. Back when we first got married, do you remember there were
renters?
There were people still living in it. There were renters. Yes. And I just remember, like, I totally felt that feeling. I'd never felt it before, but just how like awkward it felt. Like we were literally in and out because we did not feel like I couldn't really just stand there and look at the wall and really absorb, like, I almost walked out and didn't really remember what I even saw. Cause I subconsciously was like thinking of them looking at me. It was just
worried about the eyesight.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It definitely is not a good thing. So, okay. What else do we've got here? We've got, do they actually sell my house? Well, statistically, we talked about where buyers come from.
Statistically, no. Yes. Let's just reiterate. Open houses don't necessarily sell your house. Statistically.
Yes. We talked about what to know if you're a buyer going to an open house, what to know if you're a seller. Mm-hmm. And we talked about why do agents do them. Do you have anything else to add? Because we hit all those points without even really looking at our notes. We just knew what to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, we're not the type of agents as well, though, that don't do what's asked of us. So say an open house is really important to you. I don't want to make it sound like we're not going to hold one. I 100%. And I'm employed by you. Yeah. And you hired me to do a job, and this is something you ask of us. So we will be holding an open house, and we put all of our effort into it. Okay. It's not like we just sit there, we show up right on time. No, we bring in the snacks, we bring in food, we bring in really a party, because I need to create an atmosphere of selling. You hired me to sell your house, so that's what I'm going to do during this moment. So if you are viewing this as a seller, I don't want to take that as like as a negative light. We're just telling the harsh realities of an open house.
Also, I feel like I need to add, I do think this is something that could totally be different in different markets. Because maybe you're listening to this and you're like, 100%. Oh, this is totally different. But like maybe if you're in a resort community where there's a lot of people that have a lot of money and just like walk through the houses and then maybe want to buy one. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of different towns and markets that could be different, but we're in a very suburban area, and so this is just our experience from where we're at.
Absolutely.
Also, one more thing before we close today. So YouTube rolled out, I don't know if everybody's familiar yet, but YouTube now has their own podcast. So you can have YouTube podcasts. So our show is now in podcast form on YouTube podcast. So you can head over to YouTube podcast. I don't even know the website, honestly, but you can figure that out. But head over, basically,
YouTube podcast.
Yes, you can watch. You can watch our show, Real Estate with Mariah and Spenc, now on YouTube podcast, or I guess I should say listen instead of watch, if that's more convenient for you. We come on here every week and we just hang out, and we love hanging out with you guys. So subscribe and hit that bell, and we'll see you next week.